Mustafa Ali is scheduled for a WWE return tonight. Plus, there are major plans for an absent Raw star, and FTR have responded to those WWE return rumors. It's all in the wrestling news right now. After a long spell away, a charismatic gentleman set to be back on our screens. Welcome back, Ross. Did you have a nice break?
I really did, Tom. I see what you've done there, and you've knocked it out of the park. But also, we're here to speak about Mustafa Ali, as he said in the headlines there, didn't he, Tom?
Indeed. Mustafa Ali hasn't been on TV since October. The general consensus we got that he was going to be sitting out his WWE deal. And Fightful Select say not the case. As of this past weekend, there was a pitch for a possible return for Ali to WWE TV for tonight on Raw. And as far as they are told, he's going to be there tonight for Raw.
It's a massive turnaround of events. It's come out of nowhere.
It is. I think what we do forget is, why'd you say that like a football pundit?
It's a game of two halves, this Mustafa Ali. It's good to rerun. It's just weird because we saw all the tweets, obviously, and on social media he's been very active going, look at how good at wrestling I am. I'm going to go in this ring with this random man. He might not be a random man, but he's a random man to me. And look at all these things I can do very well. But no, he's back. We haven't seen him since October, where he lost 11 consecutive matches across Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views.
Didn't he?
But I don't know what might be in store. Let's wildly speculate, Tom.
Well, I think we should. I love the idea of them leaning into the new America Mustafa Ali thing that they were teasing. I watched it again this morning, putting the news podcast together, and I don't think they will. In my heart of hearts, I don't feel like that's an idea that Vince would truly get behind.
It's a weird one because look at the promo he put on Twitter a little while ago, and it is amazing.
It's amazing. And I think in any other time frame, in any other promotion, maybe there'd be something to bite on. But I don't see that in WWE somehow. I would love to be wrong on that. I'd love for him to come out and just do that promo on Raw tonight.
And then out comes the President of the United States of America, Cody Rhodes, to shut him down.
Well, he did put out a tweet a while ago that I think some feel has been misconstrued, because he put out a tweet saying like the American Nightmare versus a real American Nightmare, which was like him teasing a match with himself and Cody Rhodes. I wouldn't mind a feud between Cody and Ali.
It writes itself, doesn't it, really?
It's a nice little story, that is. It's a nice story. This guy making a big... do you know what? Again, if they truly leaned into it, a guy who came back to WWE, excited to be back there, and a guy who's like, I just want to be out of here. Why have you come back? Why have you broke back into prison? There's a story there you can tell. If they were willing to be a bit more open with the situation at foot, I feel like they would go against the idea of having someone on telly go, it's rubbish here and I want to go.
Well, they kind of did that in the Revival, didn't they? Let's scratch our bums. Let's go in the shower.
They did.
Guess that, I don't know.
Not the only return for Raw tonight, apparently. Fightful Select give us this one as well. Imminent plans for the return of Asuka.
Another one that writes itself. Of course, we haven't seen her for what feels like 7 whole years, Tom. It feels like it was her and Becky Lynch. I'm going to be a mother now. Here's the briefcase. Oh, there's a belt inside. Woohoo! Have the title reign, lose the belt, gone. Never seen again. Broken teeth. And then we saw her a few months after having her teeth repaired with her arm in a sling. I was like, how bad were your broken teeth? if that happened as well. Yeah. Now, in terms of what we've got planned for Asuka, according to Fightful, it looks as if a program with Becky Lynch is on the cards. Another one that writes itself.
There's a lot of stuff writing itself at the moment, like magic pens. This is something that lends itself nicely. And also, a few people tweeted about this, and I thought that's a really valid point. It'd be nice to have some women's feuds on both Raw and SmackDown that aren't just about the title.
Yeah.
Like, have pay-per-view matches and premium live event matches that feature women's matches that aren't necessarily over the women's titles on either brand.
Yeah, and this one's sort of like, again, I don't know if I'm going to read too much into this, Tom, but it writes itself, because I was watching an interview with the Gorilla Position podcast fella, the big ginger fella. I've forgotten his name. I'm a terrible man. My brain's still in Tenerife. He was interviewing Becky Lynch, and he was saying to Becky Lynch, you're the first ever working mother women's champion. And then she was like, yeah, I am. Oh, no, I'm not. Asuka is. So maybe Asuka could come back with a fire up her bum going, hey, nothing you can say. Change what you've done to me. I'm actually the first working women's champion mother.
You are,
thing.
mate.
Yeah.
You are, mate.
Aye.
What about as a tag match here? Asuka and Child versus Becky and Child.
Asuka and Becky just throwing the kids at each other. Collision in midair.
This is awful.
Snitsky's going, I love this in the front row.
Yes.
Go on. It was my fault.
Snitsky in the front going, bravo, that's terribly funny. Warrior Wrestling crowned a new women's champion over the weekend. Athena beating the title that Thunder Rosa surrendered. She adds a short lineage for the Warrior Wrestling title. Tessa Blanchard, Kylie Ray, Thunder Rosa, and now the former Ember Moon, Athena. I wanted to give that a little mention this morning because that's really nice.
No, I didn't see too much wrestling when I was away on me Holly Bobs.
Yes.
But one thing I did see was Athena and Taya Valkyrie doing that thing with the chairs. How she's won that title after going through that, I've got no idea.
That was a crazy bit of bumpage, that was, but best of luck to them. FTR final and more, responding to those WWE rumours. So basically, WWE want FTR back.
You had them. You had them for so
You
long.
had me, you lost me, you met me, you got me. You
can tell he does the TikToks, eh?
I love a TikTok, mate. Dax Harwood from FDR spoke to Wrestling Perspective about these WWE return rumours and said, I think both companies are in the business of getting talent. And I think they've seen the wave we've made, especially in the last 8 to 10 months. So yeah, why wouldn't they put feelers out? Why wouldn't they ask about it? They go on to say that they respect Tony a lot, but at the end of the day, they're in a business. So
yeah, they're never going to speak to WWE while they're under contract with AEW, but when they're not under contract, potentially with AEW, of course, because they're professional wrestlers, and no professional wrestler is loyal to any brand ever. I laughed at it there, Tom, when I saw people going, how could Cody do this to us? He was leading the revolution, now he went back there. They like money, they're wrestlers, they're all sluts. But of course, if they ever come to a day when they're not under contract with AEW and wherever else they're working around the world, they're going to go where the money is. And the money is, by and large, with the World Wrestling Federation.
I think that's a business thing in general. I think it's not even just a wrestling thing. I think we're all sluts. I think in general, because it's just like, you think about the first job that you had.
Yeah.
The very first job that you had, and then suddenly something else comes along that's more appealing and more money. You're not going to go, no, I'm going to stay loyal.
I was loyal to Northeast Grains.
Exactly.
Doing the sweeping jobs and cleaning up all the rubbish grains.
Exactly.
I would never leave.
I love the idea of working for a radio station. It's my dream to work for and host a radio show, but I am really enjoying stacking shelves at HMV. So I think, and also I owe them that since they gave me a contract at my lowest, so I will stay at HMV forever. By the way, the branch I was at is now shut. So that's a shame, that is. Solidarity to HMV Worcester.
Up the HMV.
Up the HMV. Yeah, it's true. So you know, we'll keep an eye. Do you see a time with FTR going back?
It's clear that with Cody, certain promises have been made, and it looks like right now they're going to happen. Maybe a world title run in the not too distant future. I would assume certain promises will have to be kept as well with FTR. Haven't been burned once before, but it's an interesting time for tag team wrestling in the World Wrestling Federation.
There's actually some
the
good
unification
times.
thing look like it's going to happen down the line.
Yeah, good time for tag teaming. At last, it's a good time for tag teams. More news throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Stay safe. It writes itself.
It does write itself. It's a game of two halves.